Hey, what's going on, everybody? You already know it's your boy Mikey Savage 21 or MS 21, whatever you guys want to call me, bringing you another movie review essentially. And today we're going to be doing the long awaited film that I've been longing to review all year, Star Wars Rogue One.
Jin, whatever I do it to protect you. So you understand?
I understand.
Now, this is the first in the anthology series. Next year, we'll, of course, have episode 8, and then a year after that, we're scheduled to have the young Han Solo film. But getting to my initial thoughts, I'm essentially just going to be kind of going off of what I read on Twitter. Simply because, that pretty much summed up exactly how I felt coming out of the movie. So, okay, my initial thoughts. Fantastic movie. Yeah, definitely sums it up right there. This movie was absolutely fantastic. It's definitely held up to par. It is definitely up to Star Wars standards, and I absolutely and wholeheartedly love the film. Again, it's probably one of the best films I've seen all year. It's probably one of the best Star Wars films I've seen because I actually went back and coupled this with the original trilogy of episode 4, 5, and 6, and then went into The Force Awakens as well. So I was able to go right into the episode 4 knowing, okay, so this is where we started out at here in Rogue One, and now we're up to here in episode 4. Alright, so I love the characters and how crucial they were to the story. Exactly. The characters were exactly crucial to the story. If we wouldn't have not had Galen Erso's character, or we would have not had Diego Luna's character, or Ben Mendelsohn's character, definitely Mads Mikkelsen's character. If we wouldn't have had these characters, then there would have been no hope. So again, along the lines of that too, perfect casting all around. I love Forrest Whitaker, Saw Gerrera, Jiang Wen as Balls Malvis. I love that. Riz Ahmed, I love his character, and Donnie Yen. Donnie Yen really stole the show for me. And they are, and this is not a spoiler, you saw this in the trailer and they've talked about this. There is nobody force sensitive here. There are no lightsaber battles or anything. But Donnie Yen's character would probably be the exception to that because he is just so one with the Force and he is so believing in the Force. He essentially, sometimes I think throughout the film, he's the only one who believes in the Force, like right off the bat. Vader's presence throughout the film, even though his appearances were brief. Now, this is a problem a lot of people have with the film. They were expecting this to be really Vader heavy. They were expecting Vader to be really front and center with all of this. And then when Vader wasn't, a lot of people got upset about this. Me personally, I'm not upset about it because, again, we got a lot of him in episode 4, 5, and 6. So they didn't want to diminish that because, again, leading from, episode 3 into Rogue One, he had just became Darth Vader. So we were just getting hints and pieces of him being this dark force in the background. And again, the scenes that he were in really stood out in the film and they were awesome. But I know a lot of people wanted to see a lot more Vader up front, but this was not Vader's story. This was a story of the Rebel Alliance and how essentially they got the plans to the Death Star, which ultimately led to the defeat of the Empire. So as far as, his character use, I'm perfectly fine with it. I had no problem with the amount that they used him in. Alright, so the next part, this was a perfect prequel to episode 4, A New Hope. It definitely was. After I watched it in theaters, I ran straight to Walmart and went and bought the original trilogy set on Blu-ray. I think it's on sale at your local Walmart. So yeah, go to your local Walmart and pick that up. But yeah, as soon as I got through seeing the film, I was just like, okay, I have to see what comes next because it just had me that enthralled. It had me that amused and it had me that amazed over the film. So I had to run out to Walmart to go get it. So yeah, this is definitely a perfect prequel. All right. And then, of course, I definitely recommend seeing this film. Of course, yeah. If you can't tell, I'm excited. Yeah, you definitely need to see this film. And the last part of my message was, if you're willing to spend the extra few dollars, then watch it in IMAX 3D. Now, I didn't see it in IMAX 3D. I actually just saw it in regular 3D, unfortunately. However, I do still recommend that you guys see it in IMAX 3D because you want to get the full scope of what this story is telling. Now, you guys have heard me go on and on about how great the story is, but for those of you who aren't as familiar with this or who have been living under a rock and you have no idea what Rogue One is, pretty much it's about Galen Erso's character, played by Mads Mikkelsen. He lives on a farm with his wife and young daughter, Jen, who is played by Felicity Jones, when she gets older, of course. And his peaceful existence, it comes crashing down when Orson Krennic's character, Orson Krennic's character, played by Ben Mendelsohn, comes and takes him away from his family. Now Galen, he is the lead Empire's engineer for the most powerful weapon in the galaxy, the Death Star, what we saw in Episode 4, and we heard mentioned throughout the rest of the original trilogy. And knowing that her father holds the key to the destruction, they have someone go and get Jen, and Jen joins forces with a spy and a few other resistance fighters, and they are planning to steal the space station's plans for the Rebel Alliance. Gareth Edwards did a great job of directing this film. This felt like a war film. I gotta say, this probably is my #1 Star Wars fight of all time. I absolutely love the lightsaber battles, especially going back and rewatching everything. But I gotta say, this film, in terms of action, has to be the most action-packed and the most fun I've had. I absolutely loved it. It is definitely up there, and I actually enjoyed this more so than I did The Force Awakens, because The Force Awakens, as great as it was still just us reintroducing us back to the world of Star Wars. This is not necessarily an introduction, but we are already familiar with it, with the lore and what this leads up to ultimately. So, of course, mentioning some of the characters, Felicity Jones, Jen Erso. I loved the chemistry she had going with Diego Luna's character of Cassian Andor. I love Donnie Yen's relationship that he had with Jing Wang. I love Forrest Whitaker's interactions with everybody in the group as a whole. He was just pictured as this wild, radical man who was out to take down the Empire, but essentially has his own way of doing things for the Rebel Alliance. I definitely recommend seeing this film. Now, as far in terms of a score, you guys should already know I'm giving this film a solid... I'm going to give this film a solid 10 out of a 10. I really didn't have any negatives. The only negatives I kind of had was the music. The music felt a little bit different because this was scored by Michael Giacchino. I hope I said that right. Was scored by him, and he only had like a few weeks to go back in and redo some things. So he wasn't able to really capture that original Star Wars magic. So yeah, I just love this film as a whole. Generally, I thought it was an amazing film all the way throughout. And again, I definitely recommend you guys checking this film out. You will love it. It'll make you cry in certain parts. It'll make you joyful in certain parts. It'll make you scream and jump up and down at certain parts during the film. And I love how the characters' interactions really contributed to the story. Like I said, I actually like this one more than I did The Force Awakens. And they even did a good job of being able to digitally alter this to make it look like it was made back in the original trilogy run in the 70s and 80s and the 90s. But yeah, I'm giving this film a 10 out of a 10, a solid 10 out of a 10. Again, the only thing I didn't like was the Michael Giacchino score, but that is no big deal. So let me know down in the comment section, guys, what did you think about Star Wars Rogue One? Let's not go into any full spoilers because, again, I know a lot of people haven't seen it. A lot of people are planning to see it with their families on Christmas Day and the day after Christmas. Hopefully, I'll be able to have a panel on and we'll do like a spoiler-heavy review, especially if you guys want to see that. So let me know down in the comment section below if you want to see one. So again, thank you so much for checking out this channel. Make sure you subscribe. I apologize for the background. I know my room looks an absolute mess. I'm still in the process of wrapping gifts and getting everything packaged up and everything. But I promise, when we come back next year in 2017 with another movie review, because I have a brand new setup, you guys actually won't even see all of this back here. So thank you again so much for tuning in this video. I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year in case I don't talk to you guys again until 2017. But thank you all again so much. And hey, stay peaceful, everybody. Peace out.